Hello everybody, my name is Patrick McGuire, CEO of the North Shore Realtors. In 2023, NSR is celebrating 100 years, the Greater Salem Association of Realtors. Each month, we're producing a video that chronicles a decade of the association's history, culminating at our annual meeting in October. This month, we're looking at 1934 to 1943. Now, typically, we're going to be looking at changes in the industry, changes in membership, how the association evolved. But this decade's a little bit different. This decade can't be uncoupled from a single individual. That individual is David Frye of Frye Real Estate in Salem. David Frye was a founding member and president of the North Shore Real Estate Board from 1926 to 1941. He represented the association at the state and national level and became a fixture of Salem real estate over a career that spanned almost 75 years. To properly convey the life and career of David Frye, we at first didn't know where to turn. How do you properly document someone who was born almost 140 years ago? Do you look at historic files, do interviews? There was only one way. We reached out to someone with over 40 years of realtor experience in her own right. She graciously agreed to give us an interview. That individual is Audrey Frye Helsner, daughter of David Frye, who at 97 sat down to talk to us about the life and times of David Frye. Let's hear from her now about how her father got into the business.
He had been working with his brother in the cigar business, like the Frye cigar stores. That was a chain in New Hampshire and everywhere. He didn't want to do that anymore. He wanted to do something where he could be more of service to people. And so he went from door to door, all along Lafayette Street and everything. Finally, he got some people interested, and word of mouth spread, and then he became well known and very good. His motto was, I never sold a house, I really helped people buy homes, and that was how he felt. And he would help them in any possible way, giving them mortgages when they couldn't get them themselves through a bank. 9 times out of 10, he said it worked out well. It was a whole different world in those days.
The business was indeed different, where now there were specialists in nearly every discipline, and agents in those times had to wear many hats.
Some place around 1935 or 36, federal government had the Home Owners Loan Corporation, and it was during the Depression. And our job was to inspect houses that had been foreclosed and were vacant. And I remember as a young child going with my father or my sister. My sister was 10 years older than me, could drive. She and I, when Dad couldn't go, would go and give him a report. And then he had to report it all, and if there were problems, we had to arrange for people to get them fixed. As a kid, I remember the Gloucester ones especially, because on the way home we stopped for ice cream, so I liked that. When they reconstructed a couple of places, I remember one on Jefferson Avenue. They made the whole Jefferson Avenue near St. Anne's Church. They reconstructed it. They took down houses and they put up that lovely road. It's there now. And the same thing on North Street. There was a lot of construction going on in North Street and on Bridge Street, and he had to appraise all that.
Broker, lender, appraiser, could he possibly do more?
Oh, he had fun as an auctioneer. He auctioned off a lot of houses. I remember having him just standing on the steps chatting with the people beforehand and being very happy when it sold and not so happy when it didn't. That was something that he was very good at.
David Frye began his brokerage in 1907. That's before a Model T ever rolled off the assembly line, and even predates the formation of NAR. The road to a career in real estate was very much a journey into the unknown.
Money was tough when he started, and it was very brave of him, I think, to go out on his own when he could have had a regular job someplace or continue working with his brother. But because there wasn't a lot of money, it didn't matter. He really enjoyed it, and he wanted to do what he liked, and somehow or other they scraped by in the first year or two. But one night he came home and he started throwing dollar bills on the floor. He had gotten a sale, he had gotten paid, and he was throwing them all over the kitchen floor. And my mother looked up and said, "What are you doing? You're going crazy. What's going on?" He said, "We sold a house. We sold a house. We have money." And he just was so thrilled. He wanted to surprise her with that. And that's the way he let her know that they were going to be okay. He said, "If I can do that and help people that way, then that's what the business I'm staying in."
Even though the industry was different in almost every way, the involvement in one's community, the networking that's involved, and what it takes to succeed might seem oddly familiar.
Oh, the city of Salem, the Rotary Club, his whole life, the temple. He was instrumental in getting Temple Shalom on Lafayette Street built because he was able to get the mortgage for them, going to all kinds of meetings all the time. He was a trustee of the Non-Kid Trust. Just to tell you how much he put real estate in front of everything else, when the phone rang at dinner time, he would answer it, and he would take the calls. And even if we were in the middle of an important dinner, he had to go and take his call. That's probably part of his success, that he really cared about the people that he was catering to and helping.
David Frye was born in 1885 in what was once Vilna, Russia, and what is now known as Vilnius, Lithuania. In 1900, he arrived in Salem. Beyond his involvement with NSR, he was actively involved in the Massachusetts Association of Realtors since day one. He was also involved with the Society of Industrial Realtors and given the emeritus status by the National Association of Realtors. He was an incorporator of the Salem Savings Bank, and as you heard from Audrey, a board member of the Namkeg Trust Company. In 1954, he received Man of the Year Award for both the Salem Knights of Columbus and the B'nai B'rith of Salem. He was also honored for his leadership with the Advocate Rose from the Jewish Advocate newspaper of Boston. David's story is very much a tale of an immigrant looking for hope and opportunity. And that opportunity delivered an independent brokerage that served the North Shore and the city of Salem for nearly 90 years.
But his main thing was helping people. That was his whole goal in life, not only in real estate, but he was very, very active in the community his whole life, too. He was just so appreciative of being in this country and wanted to do everything he could to help everybody.
After our interview, Audrey sent me these words. Part of his success in business, in negotiating, in all areas of life, because he always tried to put himself in other people's position. He tried to understand the reasons for their actions, how they were feeling, and what their main problems was, and what he could do to help him or her solve it. He really, really listened to each person, which they appreciated. Also, he believed that there was always room for new people who were interested in becoming brokers. He encouraged older brokers to cooperate with him and welcomed good people to join the board. It's hard to put it any better than that. This is the type of individual that built this association from day one. Speaking on behalf, if I may be so bold, for NSR in 2023, we thank you, David.